What's going on? Kevin Holt here, Ballher Hoops. I have Coach Anthony George here with me. We're just gonna talk a little bit about the past few weeks and just basketball in general. I think it's been a great couple of weeks of basketball. I've gotten to see some results. I watched some games on the NFA Chess app, and it's been a lot of good basketball. So, wanted to say thank you for being here, Coach, for sure.
Thank you for having me again. Loving it. It's been great. Excited to watch more of these high school games and dive deeper into it as we get a little bit further along in the season. Starting to see some really interesting developments on rosters, on teams, how they're improving, and really cool because the schedule is starting to get tough. So this is awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I want to shout you out. I love the work you've been doing, especially with the college game. Going to some of the college games, love the articles that you've been putting out. So big ups to you for that.
It's been fun. I've gotten to see 2 games live for college. Saw a Division I game between William and Mary and Davidson, which was an awesome game. Davidson took care of business, and then I saw honestly one of the very best college basketball games that I've seen in years between Belmont Abbey and Lenore-Rhine. Got to see a lot of my travel ball alumni play in that game. We had 6 total, which was really cool, representing both Belmont Abbey and Lenore-Rhine. But it was one of those games that went back and forth. It was runs by both teams. Belmont Abbey got up big in the first half. Lenore-Rhine made a huge run in the start of the third quarter. Took a big lead. Lenore-Rhine Belmont Abbey got it back, took to overtime. It was just one of those games that had ups and downs, big shots, big stops, some of the best free throw shooting. Like, you know how those games go. If you hit free throws, both teams hit a bunch of really big free throws. And then Belmont Abbey at home ended up taking it. But it was one of those really great games to watch early in the season.
That's good. I'm actually going to take my wife's. Hopefully she doesn't watch this, but as an early Christmas gift, we're going to go to the South Carolina game versus North Carolina Central next Sunday. So, but let's go ahead and get started for today. First, we're going to talk about some games that impacted the Fire 25. Big game between Providence Day and Queens Grant. Providence Day ended up winning that game by a good amount. Queens Grant just looked kind of overwhelmed at times in that game. I love the guards at Queens Grant, but you've played against Providence Day. I've played against Providence Day several times. How Coach Springer goes about taking away things that you do well is amazing.
Yeah. I think that experience too, right? Like they're very. I mean, they have a lot of good young players at PD, but their seniors are well experienced. Coach obviously is a legend, and I would just say you could see experience there, and that was the difference, and it was a big win for PD.
For sure, that was a big win. Then Concord Academy. Let's start with Marvin Ridge. Came into the Charlotte Hoop Challenge and they beat PD. Big win there for Marvin Ridge in their program because beating a team like Providence Day is big for momentum. I hate that they had to come back the next day and play again. But Concord Academy handled them in overtime. Good game. They won. Concord Academy won by 4. But overall, good showing at the Charlotte Hoops Challenge for Marvin Ridge. I think they have a big game this week coming up that we'll talk about later on as well. But
I think that's a tough schedule for Marvin Ridge. Come in there and play, back-to-back games against 2 really good programs.
Right.
Huge win against PD. PD was hot, right? They were winning a bunch of games in a row. Yeah. Marvin Ridge had a tough loss last week, came back, took care of business there. I think for them, it's just them figuring it out, but they're playing really well. And playing a team like Concord Academy in a second day is tough. I mean, they're physical. They play hard. They're well coached. They're very talented. And to get that game in overtime and play that well, obviously you'd rather a different result, but that's really good by Marvin Ridge, and excellent job by Concord Academy taking care of business.
For sure. I think all 3 of those teams are going to get better because of those games that they play. Other games at the Charlotte Hoops Challenge, RG Kell and Mallard Creek played against each other. Mallard Creek handled business. I think they won by 10 or less. I can't remember.
I think it was either 59-50 or 69-60. It was one.
Yeah, it wasn't that much of a big difference. I think Mallard Creek's looking good. Camry's starting to find her feel with the team because it takes adjustment. You've been playing as a main star for pretty much the whole time she's been at J.M. Robinson, other than the year she was with her sister. Even that year, her sister got hurt, so she had to kind of take over. But adjusting to the play style that Coach Dixon has, it makes a difference, and I think she's starting to adjust to it for sure.
Yeah, I would say two things. I think Mallard Creek's only going to get better. I do feel from the clips and watching them play, Camry getting comfortable is scary for the rest of the conference, and I think that's a big thing. Her comfortability, her enjoying herself out there playing at a high level, I think it makes Mallard Creek that much more dangerous. So they're still figuring it out and they're playing really well. So when they do completely figure it out with that Arsenal team, and obviously Coach Dixon does a great job. I think Mallard Creek, I think their best basketball is still ahead of them too.
Yeah. And I think South Met handled business. They beat Charlotte Country Day pretty good. And then Cannon, I guess I should talk about Cannon. Cannon beat South Point in a very highly contested game. Ended up winning by 1 point. South Point's pretty solid. I think that's a good win for Cannon as they get ready for December. Trying to think, North Mech, I wanted to speak on how they've been dominating games. They've played good teams, beat North Lincoln, beat Huff by 30 plus, which I think Huff has a solid team. I don't think Huff's a bad team, and North Mech's just been dominating. I think when you look at the grand scheme of things, they will play Mallard Creek again in conference. They'll play 2 games against them. But when you look at 7A, them and Lake Norman, it's going to be a game that's kind of looming, and they played each other, I think, at least for the last 4 years in the playoffs every year. How do you feel like that's going to end up being?
I think you could say they're the best 2 teams in 7A, and they're going to play each other again at some point. And obviously that game's coming up, so that's going to be one of the most highly anticipated games that Charlotte has this year. I think both of those teams have what it takes right now to win a state championship. Great coaching, obviously talent throughout the rosters. I love the fact they both play fast, so their styles are not going to clash so much. They play similarly. They want to speed you up. They want to play fast. I think they play. I think it's going to be very interesting to kind of see them play that first game, and then if they match up again in the state playoff, kind of seeing how each team makes that adjustment. But that would be probably right now my number one most anticipated game to watch. Just because in my opinion, Kev, I think those are by far the best 2 teams. In public school for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you can say in the area honestly, because right now they're at the level that they're playing. Lake Norman just beat Terry Sanford, which is a really solid team.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So the way both of those teams are playing, I just want to see how they both will adjust to each other, because North Mech finally won their invitational. It's been a while. Lake Norman was starting to call it the Lake Norman Invitational. So it's going to be interesting to see how both teams go at it with each other. So moving on, let's see. We got any other games that impacted the Fire 25, I think. Those were the biggest ones. When Charlotte took their first loss, I think Providence Day, of course, took their first loss in the season. North Mech still undefeated. Lake Norman still undefeated. I love Hickory Ridge. Hickory Ridge had a big win versus Northwest Cabarrus, which I was pretty high on. But Hickory Ridge handled business. I think they're going to be a solid team. The coach is doing a good job. First year coach with the program. I don't know if he had previous coaching experience, but he's doing a good job with what they had before.
Yeah, I mean, especially he lost some pieces too before the season
Mm-hmm.
started. So to kind of make those adjustments on the fly and put a team together that's, like I said, talented, but wasn't highly expected to do a ton this year.
Sure.
These early season wins are good. They're eye openers. I think it puts you on the map. And
Yep.
for him, credit to him and kudos to him. I hope he keeps it going. Hickory Ridge, since I've been coaching high school basketball, has been in the mix. So happy to keep it going and great job.
I agree. So let's get to some of the games of this week coming up. Tuesday, Jackson Day versus Queens Grant. Last year, I don't know if they're in the same conference now, but I know last year they were, and they had battles. I think they had some really good battles. They had a coach switch from one side to the other, which is funny as well.
Yeah.
But Jackson Day undefeated right now. Queens Grant has the one loss to Providence Day. Gonna put you on the spot, Coach. Who do you like in that one?
I'm gonna pick Queens Grant. I still like their guards.
Yep.
I think obviously the coaching on Jackson Day is elite. He's done a great job. I just coaches don't win those games. Those players do. So you got to put them out there. I just like Queens Grant's roster and the firepower a little bit more on.
I agree. I think Queens Grant should win that game. I haven't seen Jackson Day yet. I know Coach Ron does a great job of getting kids invested in what he does.
Sure.
But I think talent-wise, Queens Grant is really loaded. Bad loss, not a bad loss to Providence Day because that's a really solid team. So our game 2, that was a Tuesday night game. This is also a Tuesday night game. Porter Ridge versus Huff. I know Huff lost that game against North Meck, but I think that's their only loss on the season so far. And Porter Ridge has, I think, one loss as well. But they've been in it. They've been a lot of their games. They've been solid so far. So I have Porter Ridge in that game. I think between Miley and Ashanti, they'll get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. I think similar to that first game we talked about, I just think the roster is there's just higher level, there's higher firepower on that roster. I will say though, Huff is one of my favorite since June and kind of keeping up. They're doing a great job. I love following their team. I think they have a really solid roster. I think Coach Buss does a good job. I feel like that's going to be a better game than maybe some people think. I just think the firepower overall will just give Huff a tough time. Sure. And Miley is playing really, really well. So
for sure, I agree. Wednesday, 2 big matches. I'm gonna start with South Meck versus Marvin Ridge. Marvin Ridge coming off the big win against Providence Day. Even though that loss against Concord Academy was in overtime, wasn't a bad loss to me. Their only other loss would be to Mallet Creek team. South Meck's only losses to Ardrey-Kell. Should be a really good game. If I'm not mistaken, McDowell is 7-2, so they might be in that conversation with North Meck and Lake Norman. But if you look at it, McDowell was a really solid team last year. So was Mallet Creek. Both teams bring back a lot of talent. Who do you have in that matchup, Coach?
So which one are we talking about first? We talking about?
Oh, my fault.
You put 4.
I got into both of them.
Yeah.
My bad, Coach. So we're gonna start with South Meck versus Marvin Ridge.
Yeah, I think obviously both rosters are really good. I got to watch South Meck pretty in depth at the super scrimmage. I've seen a couple of the games on FHS. I think they should be favored in that game. I think their physicality, the way they defend, I think will give Marvin Ridge some fits. Yeah. I think Marvin Ridge has a chance to win that game just because they kept it tight with Mallet Creek through one half. Maybe they make adjustments. I do think South Meck has a ton of firepower on their roster, but physicality and way they're going to pressure the ball, I think is going to give Marvin Ridge a little bit of trouble. So I would probably pick South Meck in that game. Okay.
I think I would go with Marvin Ridge because of the way they execute. They execute a lot of their plays. They run through their stuff. It's never really like if Kate can continue to be poised, I think they can feed around her. Like everybody else can rally on her, and then everybody else fall in line, do your role, and you can win.
And they do. They like if you watch them this year, even in their losses, those players are playing their roles. Obviously Kate's the head of the snake, right? But
Yeah, sure.
those other girls are playing their roles really, really well. Coach Lenahan's daughter Haley had a really, really good showing.
Yes.
I think she had 16 or 17 points. Sophie Fritz was all over the court, scoring, making defensive stops, getting in transition. They all play their roles really well.
Yeah.
I do still think, like, from watching them play, they're going to have trouble with that pressure defense and that physicality. So that's why I'm taking South Beck in that one.
Yeah, Coach Clark is definitely going to put presses up. It's going to pressure you. You got to be prepared for it.
Yep.
So now to the Mallard Creek and McDowell game. I'm going with Creek. I think Creek still has one of the better teams in the state, especially when they added Camry. That made a big difference. I think if they can continue their dominance, if Camry is playing at a high level, and then you still got Kiki, you still got Jasmine Stone has been tremendous this year. She's been shooting the ball very well. And then Myaja's their glue player. So I think they have a really solid team. I think they'll win this game.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I like McDowell too. To your point, they're one of those teams that are going to be there at the end, depending on where they're at. They could be they could be, stay there on a different side as the other two. You could see them in the final. That's how talented they are.
Yeah.
I got to watch them too at the super scrimmage. Super talented. They have a couple players that can really play. I'd still take Mallard in that match.
Yeah, it should be a good one though. I think it should be a good one. Last game, West Cabarrus versus Northwest Cabarrus. Battle of the Cabarruses. I like this game because West Cabarrus is actually undefeated. Northwest Cabarrus lost one game to Hickory Ridge. And, always a Cabarrus County battle. You have like some type of rivalry. I think it'll be a good game. I'm going to go with Northwest Cabarrus in this one. I've seen a little bit of West Cabarrus. Shariah White has been good for years. I feel like she should be graduated by now.
In college.
I think she's in her senior year because she was with Rayana and Kaya. But I do have Northwest Cabarrus. I think they have more depth than West Cabarrus has.
Yep, I agree. I don't bet against Kenzie.
Sure.
Kenzie's a trooper. I think she's playing exceptional well. Got her 1,000 point and her 5.
Shout out to Kenzie for the 1,000 points.
Congratulations. But yeah, I think they're still figuring themselves out. They're young. I think they're going to win that game.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's all we had for today, Coach. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I'm sure you'll be at some games. Oh, we forgot to talk about the December. We're going into the last December of the going to this December schedule. You've been a part of it. I've been a part of it. I've been a part of it in different ways, different coaching programs. So some people have very brutal Decembers, and you attack it different ways. Some people are attacking it to get more games. Some people are attacking it to get ready for the rest of the year. When you think about December, what do you think about?
Yeah, I think obviously every team goal in the beginning of the season is obviously to make the state playoff and go as deep as they can and hopefully eventually win it. I think there are programs that do it a little differently, and that's fine too. I do think there are so many great events that happen across the Southeast and across America during December, where those really top level high school girls teams can travel and go play in an event. The She Got game in DC is probably on top of that list. It's star studded. It has hundreds of college coaches, D1, D2, D3, watching kids play. I know that's important to some people because you're getting eyeballs on your players. I mean, it might not really, it might not at the end of the day at that event you're not going to win a championship or it's not going to mean, but it gives those kids those eyeballs, which I think is important. And you also get tough matchups against teams that you may never see. At 1-of-1 when I was in DC, we played against teams from Australia, from Canada, from Puerto Rico. We play teams from California, from Florida, from Michigan. So it's one of those things that you may never see those teams, and to get and play against that top level competition against those great coaches, it's fantastic. And I think it helps some of these programs move on. I know Cannon's been to a couple of those in DC. Sure. John McGraw's Insider Exposure, what he does it up in Cherokee. That was my favorite event.
I love Cherokee.
Well put together. They get to play. They get to play on wood courts, and there's college games going on. College coaches at that too. So just that was my favorite event as coaching at 101. Just being there in December, right after Christmas, right before Christmas, preparing the kids, and that was another great one. So I think there's different ways to skin a cat, but I understand both kind of both mindsets. Like, hey, protect yourself, keep yourself healthy, as we have a brutal January to get us into our state run. And then I got other people, hey, like, we want this competition to prep us for the state run. So just two different ways to do it.
For sure. And I'm big on the competition to get you ready for the state championship, but I've been a part of a program where it's like, well, let's get some extra games in. Let's try to get the girls, make sure they stay into basketball shape, and make sure that they get some games, even games where you might win, and get some other kids in the game.
Sure.
Because I was at Country Day, and sometimes kids wasn't there December, realistically. So I've been a part of both, and December can be brutal one way or another. I've been to a lot of great tournaments. Cherokee is definitely one of my favorite. We went to the Nike tournament as champions in Arizona, which was amazing. Loved it out there. But it's just make sure you're doing what's best for your program. If you know your program wants to reach higher levels, you might want to play a little more competition. It can't be always about going undefeated. At the end of the day, you can go undefeated and lose the last game, and none of that matters.
That's right.
Thank you again, Coach. I appreciate you being here. Ballher Hoops, we are out. Thank you, guys.